Hey y'all, welcome back to Dixie Garage. On this episode is going to be part 2 of a Kawasaki Vulcan 900. The bike is, I believe, an 07, and it is my stepdad's bike. Now originally the first episode of this was 6-7 months ago, and it was a customer's bike at the time, and bike sat for most of its life. It only had 3,000 miles on it, and so the guy was in love with the Virago bobber. A lot of y'all watched the progress of that one on here, and he was in love with that bike, so he wanted to trade me straight up. And the bike was just too nice to change up. You know, it was clean, it was mostly stock, other than like some Vance and Hines pipes and stuff, but I had done all the maintenance on it and a tune up, and so I decided to just give that one to my stepdad. You know, he needed a bike to ride, so I passed it on to him. Well, now I've done a fuel pump in it, but we're gonna go ahead and redo it so I can walk y'all through how to do a fuel pump. And then I've cleaned the rust out of the tank. I let it soak, but I'm gonna go ahead and walk y'all through that entire process today on what to do if at higher throttle, when you go past half throttle, the bike starts bogging down. You can't give it full throttle. It probably max out at 50-60 miles an hour. I'm gonna show y'all how to fix that problem right now. So the very first step for me is I like to put down some towels, because I know I'm gonna be taking the tank off. I'm gonna need somewhere to lay it upside down. Don't want to scratch anything. And I found myself multiple times scrambling to find something with one hand while I'm holding the tank. So put down your towel, come over here, and this, I'll lift the seat off, just twisting that. So as you can see, I didn't get all the rust out last time. I let it soak for like a week with the vapor rust, and that didn't do it. So I'm gonna dump this fuel out and try and clean this out the best I can, tear the fuel pump all the way back apart. That way you can see how the assembly goes. So the problem is really the top filter. This goes on the very top of the pump, and this is not a changeable filter, and I can't find this piece by itself without buying the whole assembly. It's got a new filter and a new fuel pump. They've got less than 1,000 miles, probably about 500 miles on them. So gonna spray that out real good and let it soak for a bit with carb cleaner and see if that'll do it. So this is all the rust that has come out of just the fuel pump by itself. The filter's bad, but not horrible just yet. I've sprayed it out, and we're gonna work with that for now until we have to buy another one. This top filter has been the problem all along, though. This is where the problem lies, and it's all from the rust, and just the bike sitting forever. And I got most of the rust out of the tank, and I thought it would be good, but obviously I thought wrong. This thing, last time I sprayed it out, and it did good, but then he let the bike sit for a few months, and I guess that rust made its way up in there. So he started having problems with it the other day, first time back on the road, and that's what we got going on. So I'm gonna just keep on spraying it until I can get some clear stuff out of there. This is what I'm talking about when I say just fill it up. I'm going in both of them there. This is probably the 10th time doing this right here and dumping it, and it's been dumping out brown, and we're finally getting to where everything's clear. And so I keep letting it soak for a couple minutes and then dumping it out, letting it soak. And you can see how clear that is, so I think we're ready. So, to actually walk you through this process here, this filter goes back on the bottom. That's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory how that pushes in that hole. From right there, this will have to go into that. That goes in that top piece. This all goes back on this assembly. This hole goes down this. That's the outline right there. Make sure that's pressed down good. Then you put this rubber gasket on, this little bitty O-ring. That goes on this. You have this assembly, top one that's been the problem the whole time. That's pretty obvious how that slides back on. You can see how that needs to line up to right there. This needs to go on here. It helps to get a little bit of gas on your finger and wet that O-ring so it'll slide over. There you go, snaps down. At this point, this will go on top. Once again, the way it looks is exactly the way it goes. So that just slides down on there to be into that little hole right there. Here's where your negative goes, is on one of these screws. Doesn't actually matter which one. And I messed up this part right here. Gotta bring this out. It's tucked. And there you go. Okay, so the yellow one goes on the left side. The blue one goes on the right side. And then this goes back where it was. And you'll put your Phillips in on each side. And this side has to have the ground.